Brittany and Leo. And Brittany likes to come off as an airhead, right? Who loves athletes and rock stars. And the other thing I noticed immediately, she is absolutely Delulu.
She's out there, because her voice, I know you don't like the voice because I think in college I dated someone with similar voice pattern and you just couldn't stand it. So I get it. And she comes off like attractive, but doesn't seem too smart. And I don't know if she's pulling like a Jessica Simpson where you play like a dingy blonde, but you're really not.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe that's the game that she's playing. She says that she's a trophy wife and wants a guy who likes to cook since she doesn't. I'm thinking myself, what do you bring to the table then?
Well, remember, she claims that she can make any man fall in love with her and marry her, yet she's here at 32 single. So what she bring to the table? Delusion. That's what she brings to the table. well, look, she won't cook, but she will do a beach cleanup. Remember, she did say that?
Yeah.
And I realized on the second watch, because to be fair, we did watch these episodes twice, right? And there's certain things we're going to talk about that we saw the second time around as opposed to the first time. And it's probably because she thinks she looks absolutely gorgeous in a bikini on the beach, which is why she goes to the beach cleanup, but won't cook. Get in the kitchen, which is right there, and cook.
Well, and let's be honest. I mean, she's attractive until she starts talking. And then that's when you're like, oh, wow, there's something else there. Now, there are some guys that just want arm candy, and that's it. So I'm hoping that there's more substance to her than just her looks, that she has more to offer a man than just her looks. I think any woman has more to offer than just being a beautiful woman.
Right.
But I think she kind of plays a game. I think she's probably really smarter than what she comes off. It's just the game that she's playing.
I've never believed
a lot of guys would fall for it.
Yeah.
But apparently she has a super high pain tolerance.
Yeah.
So
that's what we find out on the second date, and that's something that's... So let me see if I got this right. Dates athletes, rock stars, men with money, has a super high... Why am I getting 50 Shades of Grey in this thing? I've never seen the movie, but why am I getting 50 Shades of Grey? Or 50 Shades of Pain?
Well, I'm getting that from Leo because Leo said it's always the tiny ones with the high-pitched voices that have the best pain tolerance. He said that. I'm thinking, are you keeping track of women and pain tolerances? Like, you got some weird stuff going on, Leo.
By the way, I just want to point this out because it came up a couple times here. Monica says, there you go talking about the soprano voices, guys. God gave it to us. So Monica apparently has the soprano voice, the Brittany voice, right? And Matt says, I feel like most of the women, black and white, have that Valley Girl nasally baby voice. Did you notice that on the show?
I didn't. I'm gonna have to pay more attention to that okay. on the other episodes. I'm gonna have to pay more attention to that to see. And I do notice a lot of them have the vocal fry, where they kind of sing when they talk. There's a lot of that.
Did hear that too. Sarah says every girl thinks they have a high pain tolerance until they meet
Dexter St. John.
Every girl wants Mandingo on tit. No. Why would you do that? Why would you set us up to say that? That was just too easy. Jesus. Why would you do that to us? All right. So you notice that Leo is speaking Brittany's love language where he talks about how well off he is and claims he's not comfortable talking about it. But then he wouldn't shut up.
He wouldn't. And that's his Mac, is to talk about his money. Because if he didn't have money, I don't think he would pull hardly any women. You're but right. I think the money helps. And then Brittany asks how he feels about finances. Is it 50-50? He said it doesn't have to be. And she talks about how she doesn't agree with 50-50. And in her last relationship, she was taken care of 100%.
Yeah, exactly. And it's exactly the same way we just said, right? Because Layla's like, these two are both odd jobs. He doesn't want people to like him for his money, yet keeps talking about his family's money. And Trinity Divine says Leo is rich, according to him. And she wants a rich husband.
Yeah.
We've got a match. A little pop the balloon right there.
Okay, but here's what she tried to pull off.
Okay.
She says if she wanted to marry for money, she would have been married a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's sneaky. And then she even says Leo is one of her boy baby names she wants.
Here's the interesting thing.
Well played.
She says that. And then he goes, yeah, but I wouldn't want my son to be. Well, we don't have to do that. She switched that up so quick.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, stand on business.
Yes.
Stand on business. If that's
Yes.
the name you want, no, that's the name
Yes.
you want.
Oh, 100%. And sincerely, I agree. Not only the vocal fry, Leo says like almost every other word. It's so hard to listen to him.
Every other word. You got to get it right.
It's so hard to listen to him.
You got to read it the way you every
other word. He does. And it was so annoying to try to listen to him.
Yeah. One of the guys that popped up and all the women were talking about was Nick D. Nick Dorka. Dork with an A. Because he came off pretty cocky to the women, and the women picked up on him being a smooth talker. Even Ashley W. questioned if he was an F-boy because he was a smooth talker. I'm like, how is that being negative, right? But then it's an interesting one because he is on a date with Hannah. And this is where we get to kind of really know more about Nick. And we get to know Hannah. Both of them the youngest of the men and the women. And you kind of get good vibes from these two immediately, right?
I do, but I get red flags at first.
Uh-oh, why?
You know, red flag for Hannah is she's so young. To be 26 in this process, to be so young in it, I think that's a little bit of a red flag. And then for Nick, 29, he's never been in love. He's never felt love. He doesn't know what it is. But now he's ready for it. Which, how do you know when you have it? If you don't, you've never had it. So that's a big issue for me. I mean, they're the youngest ones in the group, but he's like, I'm ready and I want love, but you don't even know what love is.
But he was a kicker punter. She was a cheerleader in high school who dated a quarterback. And so here she is on a date with a punter, and this is where they are, right? We get to see her on another date because these just intertwine for a while here.
Right.
Right? It's interesting because even when she goes back after her date with Nick and she's in the women's quarters, she even says, I think he'll ruin my life. Which I was like, huh? But was ready to go back on dates with him. But I think the real red flag came when she went on the other date with Leo.
Yeah. Because that's the one where she said that she quit her job to find love and be on this show. And to me, that's crazy that you did that. That's a huge red flag. Now, for Leo, apparently he's balling, so he doesn't care.
Yeah.
But I think that's just something about her. But also, that's just youth. And that's the thing about like what her maturity level is.
Yeah.
It would be my concern. And Hannah talks a lot. Which
She does.
She's 26. I guess that's what happens.
Yeah, you just didn't notice it when you were 26 because, you were after something else at that time. It's interesting because on their second date, Leo says Hannah was in his dream the night before, which almost sounds like, wait a minute, how do you know it was me in your dream if you don't know what I look like, right? Does that give instant creep?
Yeah. She asked, what did she look like? He said, white.
And that was his way of checking. Because had she gone, well, how do you know I am? Then he would have been like, next.
Yeah. As like Chris Rock said, it's all right if it's all white.
That art dealer family don't accept no color.
Only on the walls, not in our family.
The funny thing is that Leo, and we know this about Leo. Leo talks so damn much, right? But he goes, he appreciates that Hannah hasn't asked about his job. And then he goes to talk all about his job. Like, Jesus Christ. She said, I didn't ask because I didn't want to know. Why are you telling me?
Oh, no, I love how he said it. My job is very interesting because you don't meet an art dealer every day.
Because you don't meet me every day, yes.
Wow. Could you imagine? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yo, what's interesting here? You and I talked about Hannah before, right? And I'm seeing this already. Sedan's fan said she reminds me of Megan Foe from last season. Insecure, obsessed with what other people think about her looks. And High Vibe says Hannah reminds me of the non-Megan Fox girl from last season.
Yeah.
And Happy Gardner takes it further, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, you're talking about Chelsea.
Yes.
Who said yes, because Chelsea did that. And the thing is, the way that she describes herself a lot on these dates, or why she thinks guys like her, she focuses a lot on her looks, which is going to make the guy on the other side of the wall think, oh my God, this girl is banging.
Yeah. She put it in everybody's mind. She put it in Leo's mind, and she put it in Nick's mind as well, with the dated the quarterback, I'm the cheerleader, blah, blah, blah. Well, look. So we get back to Hannah and Nick. Speaking of Nick, second date. And this is exactly what I'm talking about because I think that Nick envisions Hannah to look like what we see, but in reverse. So basically, what he's envisioning is not what we see.
Yeah. No, it's not, because she made the comment that she can be Taylor Swift and he can be Kelsey because he was a kicker, which, first of all, as a football fan, I'm insulted because Travis Kelsey's not a kicker.
No.
He's an amazing tight end. But, of course, Nick is picturing Taylor Swift-esque build and everything, right? And then Nick even says that he looks like a less buff version of Superman.
No, he did play Superman, Henry Cavill. But like Toya said, she oversold her looks and so did Nick. Did he really, though? Because he did say the less buff version.
Okay.
She should have known. Kicker, punter. There's only one buff, chiseled kicker punter in the world ever.
I look like a poorer version of Cuba Gooding Jr. How's that?
No, you look like a poor version of D.L. Hewley, but you always have. Since college. And now nobody else can unsee it. Matter of fact, next time you post a picture, a throwback picture, they'll see it even more so.
No. Still, I think that's just, they both describe themselves bad. Yeah. Hannah asks, what if we are those attractive people that have ugly babies?
Which should let you know she's the ugly one. But go ahead.
She said her mom is a smoke show, looks-wise. So, of course, all this is getting in Nick's head because we've talked about this, guys. What does the mom look like to tell me what she's going to look like when she gets older?
By the way, Sanans fan says these two haven't looked in the mirror. Monica says she only heard football. And B says, I don't see the comparison to DL. If you see the throwback pictures of Terrell, trust me, Terrell in college, with the same haircut as DL, you'll see it.
No, you don't. They're on my IG. No, I don't look anything like DL Hughley. I've never heard that.
Okay, whatever. Maybe not now. You don't have the tats. It's on the third. Here's the interesting thing. Before they get to the third date, Hannah lets the other women get in her head about Nick, right? Because remember, they've just met Nick the first time. She's had the dates with him, but still she lets them get in. She second guesses Nick's intentions. And even though when they get on the third date, she asks the questions, what are you doing here? And he says all the right things. It's not enough, and Hannah breaks it off with him.
Right. And she breaks it off with him because the other women got in her head. That's what it boiled down to.
Yeah.
And I like how Nick handled it because he could have lost his shit and got all upset. He was just like, all right, well, I wish you luck, and moved on because no point in trying to change someone's mind.
Nick was stay classy San Diego. That's what he did in that moment. So you know what? I got to give him that because he did a good job there. Hannah's delusional. She's going on thinking that she looks better than she looks, and when she gets back to the women's quarters, gets her face cracked.
She does, because she gets back to the women's quarters, kind of wanting that high five that she ended it with Nick, because now she can focus on Leo. And then Brittany comes in and accidentally says Leo's name, which I think was strategic that Brittany did that. And I'm sure Hannah's probably looking at herself, looking at Brittany, and it's like, oh shit, competition.
Yep, exactly. He was like, that's my number one. Hannah and Nick. Because remember, Hannah's over here regretting her decision and requests a date with him, right? So they're on their next date, and Hannah admits that she listened to the other women and ended it with him. And this is the moment Nick should have got his ass up and walked the hell out the pod. What are you doing?
I agree, because Nick said that he was hurt, and she said she thinks that she hurt him because she was scared he was going to hurt her.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy. But when she admitted, when I listened to what the other ladies were saying, that's when Nick was like, excuse me? The other ladies were saying?
Yeah. That is nuts. That was crazy to me. He should have walked away. He didn't. But then she says that she thinks he will break, that Nick will break her heart. And now we start to hear about her insecurities.
Yeah.
Like, what if Nick doesn't like what he sees?
And that's her, because that's what's so confusing about this process. If you're in the experiment, you get all these dates where she's saying these things where you think, oh my God, she's hot. Now she's coming at you with, what if you don't like what you see?
Right.
And I wonder, do the producers tell them to do that? Because it happens every time. Every season, people do that back and forth thing. Or she's just young and lacks confidence.
People have insecurities. Even the most beautiful woman has her insecurities. It could be the smallest thing. So I'm not surprised by that. And yeah, okay, let me move on. So Brittany, Brittany and Leo, Brittany tells Leo that she knows he's dating Hannah, and then tells him what happened in the women's quarters in episode 1, where she accidentally blurted out the name. Mm-hmm. Now, did you notice that at that point, Leo then opens his mouth, inserts foot by saying he is close to saying the L word, but he has 2 women chasing him. Very careful of wording there. And he is the man, and that both women are number 1. Only thing I got out of this, Leo talks too damn much.
Leo's an idiot.
Yeah,
the way he talks. He doesn't know how to read a room with or without the woman in the room. He just doesn't know how to pick up on it.
At all.
Brittany says maybe she should have went home because she's in a weird mood. And she tells him it's all on him to choose who he wants. And he said this date will forever be sealed in his memory because she was open and vulnerable. He's such a tool bag. Like, he's just terrible. When he tells her she's really smart and says people think she's not smart because of her voice and they underestimate her. And she's like, laughing. What are you saying?
Yeah. It's nuts. These two, I think, they're almost perfect for each other, or just perfect for TV. Because really, it's.
Well, the other thing that blows my mind is that Brittany is on camera. Mm-hmm. So when he tells her that Hannah and Brittany are his number 1, then says he can see himself being engaged to Brittany and falling for her, she shakes her head because she knows it's crap. Yeah. Like, their dates are painful to watch.
Yeah. Well, it is, because here's the difference. Because it's also part of her ego, because she's like, how I see her. How do you compare me to her?
Right.
How are we both one? Because, so, and that's the problem, right? Now, speaking of Hannah, or as, excuse me, Happy Garden likes to call her Honey Boo Boo, she's on a date with Leo, and Leo goes down the path of self-pity, saying what he doesn't want to do, and then does it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Hannah's just eating it up, because he's pretty much telling her the same crap that he told Brittany.
Yep.
And she says that she wants to hang out with him, cuddle him, make out and have sex with him, and that she will dream about him tonight. And if you notice, out of the 2 between Hannah and Brittany, only one of them like that bullshit. Only one of them like that.
Right on time, because Shoshana's like, no one's going to mention Leo's kissing sounds.
We're going to mention that. That was awful. That whole kissing sound, like, that is crazy. That is crazy.
Leo and David, which, okay, I'm going to leave that alone. Let's roll on. So David, we find out, dated Hannah, and Leo thought that they stopped talking because of David, but then David clears it up and says that Hannah actually cut him out. Then he reveals things that he knows about Hannah, but he didn't want to. And then Leo insisted, and he said, all right.
Fine. Hannah is 5'9", and I'm only 5'8". And I said I was okay with that, but Hannah cut me out.
Yep.
After that. So now Leo knows that she's 5'9". Mm-hmm. I don't think that's bad. Like, what does that information do for Leo?
So part of it is the fact that she may be a little superficial when it comes to looks and height and all that stuff, right? Like, maybe that's what he was trying to portray. And I'm sure there was more that he said that didn't come out, but in that part, I think that's what it is. Like, it says a lot to somebody's character depending on who you are.
But majority of women are that way.
It says something about your
Majority of women are that way. I'm sorry. If a woman's 5'9" and she meets a dude's 5'7", she's like, you cute though, but no.
Well, not just 5'9", 5'2", and you only 5'9", then she might still say no because you got to be 6'5". So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Well, Maybe the money makes him handsomer. Maybe
Well, next date, we see Leo on a date with Brittany. And it's interesting because, and this is so, as we wrap this whole episode 3 up, right? This is so irritating, aggravating to me watching because Brittany can feel that Leo is going to dump her. She can feel it. And he does nothing to ease her fears. And I said this before, he's delusional. And in this moment, he talks again too damn much.
Yeah, he does. He tells her that he wants to make a decision later after he has another date with Hannah. Could you imagine that? Yeah. Hey, Yanni, I like you, but I got a date with someone else. I just need to check that out first before I'll let you know later on tonight. And then she pretty much tells him that he is her choice.
Yeah.
But lets him know that she could also say no if he proposes, which I think that's something that the guys always have to keep in mind. But he tries to tell her how strong and sweet she is, and she gets upset because I'm tired of being sweet. And then he's just complimenting, you're so strong, you're so wise. He's annoying. He's annoying as hell.
He's annoying, especially in the fact, well, because I don't want to hurt you. She's like, look. If you break up with me, I'll be fine. Just make a fucking decision. Yeah. And that's the moment I go, Brittany, I'm on your side for these next 2 seconds.
Yeah. I was like, Brittany, self-select out and just say, I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. And she's trying to tell him, you don't have to decide tonight. If you want to sleep on it, that's totally fine. And then that's when he says, you are so wise. And then he hits her with the...
I do like that she was like, I just want to have fun tonight thing, right? I do like that. And when they had their night date, Leo brings up rings. And that was another trigger for her. Besides the kissing noise, which we do find at the end of this date, that is really a trigger for her. But it's a trigger for all of us when he first did it. But it's really a trigger for her. But when he brought up the rings, this was the first trigger. This was the 13th trigger of these two.
Yeah. Yeah. And he killed the vibe.
Yeah.
So she wanted to have a fun date. He gives her a blanket that's smothered in his cologne.
Yeah.
And she laughs at, and all that good stuff. That's awesome. But then he kills the vibe by trying to ask her about what ring that she wants, knowing that he's going to ask Hannah the same thing. So then he tries to use his skills to say, let me just think I can guess what you like. And apparently gets it right, what type of ring that she would like. And I think she smiled and liked that. But the whole time, she just seems annoyed with this guy.
She does, right? But this is where, remember I said for 2 seconds? This is when the second ended, right? Because Brittany asked Leo, look, are you even ready to give a ring? And like the idiot that he is, he says, I'm ready. I'm literally there with both.
Right.
And I'm shocked that she didn't just get her ass up and walk out. Because even when she said it, he's like, well, you could. I can't stop you, but. And that's a man who knows he has the money, the power, and therefore you are going to give him the respect.
Yeah.
What you need in life, money, power.
You can leave. I can't stop you from doing that. Do you?
Yeah, he literally did that shit. It was crazy. But then here's the thing. She stays. The ring conversation comes up again, and he guesses the exact ring that she wants.
Yeah. He said, you're a square or oval-shaped diamond. And she goes, oval. And he's like, I swear I was going to say oval. I swear I was going to say that. I'm like, this dude's a tool.
Because something tells me that you just would not want a round.
Right. Right.
Yo, here's a funny thing. Trinity says, what gets me is when he said, yesterday you were number 2, but now you're both number 1. Bananas. But, Asia says, remember, she said she's a trophy wife. That is why she stayed. Okay. There you go. And J-Ro says Leo mentioned his money over and over again. Of course, because why do you get a fancy car? It's bait.
Right.
Why do you say you inherited a lot of money? It's bait. And he knows the fish he wants to catch. He has her right there, right? But he's got another date to get to. So he gets on this other date with Hannah, right?
Yep.
And he brings up the prenup, which he had brought up with Brittany, who wasn't, but he brings it up with Hannah, and Hannah is absolutely cool with it.
Of course, because she's thinking to herself, that you have this money, you took over your family's business, and you could have, in her words, sat on your ass and just played video games, but you still choose to work. So, of course, he's like, I really love how you said that. As they're both eating big, giant cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Which, you noticed that. I never noticed that.
I did. I noticed they're eating big, giant cheeseburgers on this date.
Which, by the way, she brings up Hannah, and in the midst of this cheeseburger eating, brings up her issues and insecurities about weight, right?
Yes!
And then Leo says he would still love her if she were a 500-pound worm. Cap.
I don't understand that. As you're eating a big, people normally give me a hard time because of my weight, because in COVID, I gained a bunch of weight and I lost 45 pounds.
Yo, they were bananas in this one. Leo says, here's an interesting thing, though. He says if he says the magic words, right? The magic words, quote unquote magic words. That means he's ready to get down on one knee.
Right.
Now Hannah says, yo, that she's sure of him. And then this is the part that irked the crap out of me, because I hate when fellas do this, because it shows a lack of a backbone, right? Because he goes punk and says, so if I were to ask you to marry me, would you say yes? How old are you, dude? Seriously.
Well, look at her answer. She said, well, yes, but I still have this other connection.
Yeah. But it's a perfect answer to the dumb question he asked. Why would you ask that question? So if I were to ask you to be my girlfriend, would you say yes or no? Check. Don't create another box and check maybe.
Right.
Like, Jesus Christ. Well, Hannah goes on another date with Nick, and this is the part I really liked in this date, because as the date started, at least on TV, he asked about her other date, and Hannah was like, no, let's talk about us.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do too. Nick brings the healthy salad. I like that too.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Good, because I noticed that. I'm like, wait, you just left one date with a big cheeseburger.
Oh, boy.
Then you go to another dinner date with a salad. And maybe Nick didn't know, but that would be tough. Because I'm like, man, I feel like I have to eat both because you don't want to be rude. But she asked how he's doing financially. And he said that with real estate, it takes time to get up to six figures, which I totally get that. Mom's been in real estate 40 years. I get it. And then she asked if they got married, would they be okay financially? Because it's going to take her some time to find a job.
Yeah.
This is when I've realized that her comment about, I've made enough money and I can quit my job to find love.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
That is, you know what? Now that you put that together and you connect the dots, I see that. Because, yeah, it did make sense when she said that, right? I do like how Hannah told Nick how she felt when he made the comments about her and her bikini. Because she discussed weight with Leo, and so she brought it up again here. But I like the way she did it here. It wasn't, oh, I did this. She's like, here's why when you made those comments, I may have seemed a little, off-put, and that's why.
I don't agree with that, to be honest, because I've seen I've seen big women in a bikini that look sexy as hell. I've seen thick women in bikinis that can look sexy as hell, whether it's a one piece or a two piece. That's her insecurity. Just the fact that he said bikini. He didn't say that you're going to be in this bikini that's this size.
Right.
He just said, I see you in a
true.
bikini. And so I think that's her insecurity coming out, because you can be gorgeous whether you're skinny, petite, or whether you're a bigger woman. You can still look sexy in a bikini.
Yeah. By the way, Rosemary says Nick seems like he's just an all-around nice guy, which is what he kind of comes off as, right? He tells Hannah that he's in love with her, and that changes everything for her. Then she says the same thing to him, and it feels like, yo, this is the other thing, right? Because they get back to their respective quarters. Nick tells some of the guys that he told Hannah he loved her. Meanwhile, in that same quarters, Leo is having a conversation about what he needs to say to Hannah, right? As he's trying to make up his mind.
Right. He's trying to figure it out. What's it going to be, one or the other? And to me, I feel like it winds up working out for Nick at the end of the day. Yeah. Because Hannah, I think, comes out of that date with Nick, and she feels like Nick's her guy.
She does.
And in the women's quarters, she tells Brittany, hey, I'm going to end it with Leo. Nick's my man.
Right. And it's a big Hercules, Hercules. A great celebration in the women's quarters. Everybody's happy. We've got a solution to this quadrangle of a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. So Hannah goes on a date with Leo. Mm-hmm. And when she gets in there, she stands on business and tells him immediately, hey,
Yeah.
I'm in love with my other connection. You know who it is, Nick. And he's going to give me and Leo goes on the offensive immediately.
Well, he does, because she was honest. I love how she just went straight to it. Mm-hmm. She said that she loves Nick. She said that she thought she could get there with Leo, but she wants someone who's 100% all in with her. Mm-hmm. And that's what Leo doesn't understand. Mm-hmm. That you can't be dragging two people on and wait for you to decide which one you're going to pick. Mm-hmm. And then that's all of a sudden when Leo turned into an adolescent boy. And, tell me that's not it. Have y'all decided? And he keeps asking her, is it set in stone and all this other stuff? I'm like, dude, you lost. Let it go.
Here's the problem, though. I know we want to blame Leo in this situation, right? Because Chocolate Cinema says this is where Leo's manipulation tactics were on. He's probably never heard no before. Dime Diva says he's psychotic. Absolutely. And I am not disagreeing with you ladies.
Yeah.
However, the real villain here is Hannah.
Really?
Because all she had to say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Trinity Divine, who says Leo didn't want to lose. No, he didn't. However, all she had to do is say she is committed to Nick. This is a done deal. That's my man. And she can't do it.
Touche. I see your point. Because she could have easily just stood, hey, no, I've decided I'm going to be with Nick. I wish you well in all your future endeavors. Mm-hmm. Give her the HR speech and let Leo move on. Right. She could have did that. She could have did that, and she didn't. And then Leo's telling her that he wants to marry her, mm-hmm. and he loves her, mm-hmm. which he hadn't said to Brittany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, by the way, this is a very important point that you just said. So I want you to say it one more time about what he said to her in that moment. Please give it to us again.
Sure. He tells her that he wants her, he wants to marry her, mm-hmm. and that he loves her. And he's mm-hmm. not said any of that to Brittany before.
Because he said the minute he says the L word, those magic words, he's ready to get down on the knee.